Hello and welcome back to Loren and Amazon Princess. Or, no sorry, Loren the Amazon Princess. I have a feeling I keep making this mistake. Anyway, we've already been to the swamps once, but let's go there again because it booted us out quite quickly last time. Their journey through the unforgiving swamps had been a perilous one. The monsters that lurked in its outskirts made them fear what it would hold in its depths. Amakuki provided his oath true and protected Loren valiantly and with ease. Alphysmo did not even seem surprised by his abilities, but the rest of the party were in awe of him. Even Loren started to take notice of his strength. It was only Eleanor who pouted whenever he received praise. It should not have been so easy for a man to get on Loren's good side. Eleanor noticed how selfishly she was thinking, but she could not stop herself. After wading through waist-deep swamp water, neck-deep for Dora and Ramus, they spotted what looked like a hut. The wood was rotted, but it was still, somehow, standing. Is that a house? Who lives in a swamp? Blast! It's about time we saw some dry land. I need to get out of this sludge. They clambered onto the island and recollected themselves. Ramus emptied the swamp water from his boots. A native to the swamps. It could belong to the lizardmen. Tread carefully. I don't know, this house looks too awful even for them. They approached the front doors cautiously. Hello, is anybody there? Sorry, wrong voice there. There was only silence. That's ominous. So Loren opened the door and the party filed in. As if through magic, the deteriorating interior held lavish interior. The party was stunned by how they had been almost tricked into passing it by. Though the hut was empty, it looked like someone had been there recently. Out of the shadows sprang a giant scorpion with its tail flailing. Kill it! Boss fight, giant scorpion, cool. Keep the party setup. I think I'm okay with this setup. Right, he's big and mean. Dora's the only one who can get a shot off. Okay, so whoever got Loren, okay. Strike for some damage. Gizmo. Hit it with paralyze. Wow, it's resistant to paralysis. Okay, that could be a problem. Fireball doing very little damage, but more than anything else he's got. Okay, you. Taunt. You. Not doing a massive amount of damage, that's okay. Now you. Shield wall. Hopefully that should. Thankfully it appears to be quite sluggish. And taunt again. Oh come on, he's double taunted you. Okay, I want you to cast Regeneration 2, which should get some healing going along here, which will be useful. Right, let's strike. Strike. Yeah, Mark 1 fireball.
Try this on for size.
Strike. High power shot. Strike. 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 More healing.
I don't like you.
Oh, I hit that. And he just attacks it and just says, I don't like you. Okay, princess. Accuracy, poison. Stagger. Okay. It's Dora, so. Pinning shot. It's definitely immune to paralysis. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's not. Or that's certainly not affecting any paralysis. More damage. More damage. Because it seems to really want to focus on the princess. Thankfully, it's pretty slow.
Try this on for size.
Oh, that's quite useful. I can just double click if it's. If I'm using the same attack again. Okay, do I want to use a pinning shot for about 14? Nah, I'd rather do the high damage since it's getting low on health. And Princess, finish it.
Your weapons, tend your wounds, and make haste.
That was victory. That was a good fight. Interesting enemy. Oh, he's so close to leveling up. The scorpion screamed and scuttled back into the darkness. Loren held her hand up to warn the party not to pursue it. The creature's whimpering morphed into the sounds that a human would make. Hold on. I think we might have a shapeshifter on our hands. A woman stepped out from the darkness, glowering at the party. It was clear from her condition that she was the scorpion whom they had just fought. Loren brandished a sword to warn her not to try anything again. A shapeshifter! And into a scorpion! Those are ugly and mean! They're just misunderstood. Then why did you attack us? Because I would rather die than fall into the hands of the Empire. I will not rot away in a jail for simply being what I am. It is the laws of the land. If you use dark magic, you must be locked away. I sent another party member, by the way. I have a feel, look at the design of her. She's clearly a party member. Just look at that armor. Yeah. Stand down, mage. You are under my leadership, not your Empire's banner. I have no allegiance to anyone who seeks to hurt you. I am Princess Loren of the Amazons, and I am looking for my mother. I know she was brought into this forest by a man, but I do not know where. You are from here. Can't you help us? The Dark Witch twisted her mouth as she examined the party members one by one. She walked up in front of Loren and stared her dead in the eyes. Loren felt a deep shiver, but held her ground and did not waver. What are you doing? An aura that had started to appear faded quickly. You are not lying. Of course I am not. Did you just use magic on me? I had to make sure you weren't lying filth. Turns out you're not, so no harm done. Don't ever use magic on me again, or you'll find your head separated from your body. The Dark Witch blinked. Don't worry, that's usually how she befriends people. Wait, you can read people's minds. The perks of using so-called dark magic. It is the magic of death. Death is just another stage of being. So many people flee from it as if it was a bad thing. Being dead can be quite fun, actually. She waved her hand, and the skeleton of a jackalope on her table started to move. It hopped off the furniture and ran around on the floor. Dora and Draco screeched when it hopped around their feet. The dead should rest, not dance a merry jig whenever you want. The skeleton suddenly stopped with a quick hand gesture from the shapeshifter. I have no opinions on your magic. I need only to save my mother. Can you help me find her? I would reward you handsomely. Keep your outside baubles. I don't need anything other than what I already have. I'll help you find your mother, but only because I want my peace and quiet back. Too many people walking around the swamps like they've been renamed Forgiving Swamps of Roses. You'll help? Really? Yes, really. Unlike filth, I don't lie for recreation. What is your name, Dark Witch? We have not had a proper introduction. My name is Chambara, though I do consider a good fight a standard greeting nowadays. I won't apologize for attacking you, since I am usually the one being ambushed. She threw a look over to Alphysmo, who almost looked as if he was turning blue with disapproval. Very well, Chambara. You can help us navigate the terrain and look for tracks. I don't need to go anywhere. But you said that you'd help. I can and I will. Let me complete my thought if you don't mind. Pfft, outsiders. How will you help us then? I have a potion that can tell me where anyone is in the swamps, very accurately. Great. Perform your ritual or make your potion. Whatever you need to do, do it. Not so fast. I need the proper ingredients first. I don't just stock up on useless potions, hoping for strangers to stumble through my door looking for their lost mothers. Of course, this couldn't be easy. Fine. What do you need? I need the tooth of a lizardman. It's the most potent for what I require. We have plenty of those just lodged in our armor already. Not just any lizardman's tooth. Let me finish. It must be from a large, dominant lizard, the cream of the crop. He's fed the most and is the strongest, and so on and so forth. In short, only a lizardman king will do, and they never leave the tribal grounds of the Temple of Cthulhu. Damn it, game, stop doing this to me! And they never leave the tribal grounds at the Temple of Chulu nearby. This had better not be a trap, witch. You had better not be sending us to our deaths. If you were able to get this far, I assume you can handle some extra lizardmen. Though if you do die, my day is free again, so I don't really care either way. Amukiki stepped in front of Alphysmo to keep him from binding the shapeshifter out of anger. We'll return soon. Get out already. They left the decrepit hut and headed towards the ancient temple. Your Grace, the temple road is guarded by many lizardmen patrols. So, what do you suggest? I recommend after each attack we retreat to make camp. Making camp will fully restore our health. But we cannot delay anymore. My mother is in danger. I know, and it's up to you. Only remember that if we attack all the enemy patrols in sequence without resting, we might not make it. Well, let's fight the next patrol. Because, you know, full health at the moment, so that's good. Right, so Dora can get a shot off. Okay, let's focus on that wizard. Damn. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so you're paralyzed, so you can't really do much beyond defend. You... Okay, Draco's gonna get a shot. It should hopefully be enough. Kill him. Okay, hit him with a quick blast. Fireball 3. Yeah, it would have been enough. Oh,
I
well.
hope this is slightly uncomfortable.
Dead.
Huh,
Dead.
It actually worked.
Okay, so they're focusing their fire on her. So Eleanor is over here. Still is paralyzed. I can't really do much beyond going to defensive stance as stealth. Again, you can't do much beyond going to a defensive stance. That's up. Defensive across the board. That's okay, that's a little bit of damage, but nothing too bad. We need to cast Regeneration. Let's get some healing going. That should be useful before we go into the next fight. Right. Kill that git. Kill that git. A little bit of damage, but everybody's just healed up again. Hit that git. Kill that git. Oh no, he's still up. Well, not for long.
That's it? No more?
Nope, no
Not
more.
even hiding behind that rock there?
I quite like that line, actually. It's cute. Precious gem, sell it to merchants, 6 gold, and can level up. Break over, unfortunately. No more skill points. What would I keep giving next? Probably get him lizard, maybe? Anyway, no point contemplating that now until he actually does level up. Next lizardmen patrol. Perfectly happy with my squad as is. And again, let's focus fire on the wizard. God damn it, enough of the paralysis. Alright, Loren gets a strike, but you can't really do much. Let's just defend. Physmo. No point hitting him because I know that Draco's fireball will kill. So let's hit him. Fireball 3. Oh, so close to being dead. 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 Some minor damage across the front row. Now Eleanor, who can actually get a strike off, so let's hit him. You can't do much, I will defend. Now that's just a classic hit me with your best shot approach. There. Get some regeneration up across the front row. Loren, who is now unparalysed. Decent damage there. This thing could have killed him, but I felt it would have been a waste of the amount of damage she can do in one strike. Oh, come on! 3 damage! 3 damage! Seriously.
Why are there imbeciles everywhere I go?
Excellent question. More XP, which is good. Aha, so she's getting close to leveling up. Nobody else really is, apart from him. But I got some more stuff I can flog. Next, lizardmen patrol. And I'm still fine with the party as is. Using him as a tank. And striking hard. Right, my previous tactics are... What, no wizard? But hey, no wizard! Which means no bloody paralyze effect. That's Loren's strike, so hit him. And now it's him, so let's get some healing up. Because I like to have some healing up.
Try this on for size.
Burn, 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 burn. He's going to die next turn no matter what happens. So let's just focus fire. Take him out of the equation. And there we go.
Path is now clear.
That was really easy. She's getting a little low on health. I can fix that early in the next one though, so that's fine. Finish there. Done with that. The party had cleared the Cthulhu temple of all lizardmen, but they had yet to find the lizardmen's leader. The more they fought, however, the more the vicious creatures became, telling them that they were close, and then, suspiciously, the attacks stopped. They were guided through the empty halls by lit torches and sounds. They walked down a musty corridor and into a great hall. There were torches lit across the wide room, and large decorative lizardmen working around the occult symbols on the floor. There! The king must be with them! Loren pulled out her swords and charged the monsters, already impatient to collect the teeth required for Chambara's potion. The lizardmen screeched as she plunged her weapon into the nearest one. She pulled her sword back out with a grunt and scanned the chamber for her next target. What she saw instead made her lose her mind. Karen, her mother, was tied to the wall, limp and unmoving. Mother? She did not move. Loren screamed in pure bloodlust. Meanwhile, a giant lizardman warrior approached them. He was the Lizard King. Sorry, deliberately cracked my knuckles near the microphone there so you could hear it. Right, let's do this! Okay. Lizardman wizard. Okay, the wizard is almost certainly not a dangerous one there, but a good fireball will take him out of the equation, so... For now, let's focus on these dudes to the side. No idea what that does. Does that do anything? Okay. Now it's Loren, so strike on him. He gets a strike off. Okay. Fireball.
I don't like you.
Dead. Burned. Dead. Yeah, I was hoping to do a bit more damage to that guy. Actually, somebody with a ranged attack should be able to get a shot off. Okay, and that's the wizard out of the equation, so now he's the only one fighting. Okay, so taunt. Healing up along this front row. And let's get some shield defense. Strike. Okay, I can use snipe on him, which does a pathetically small amount of damage. Okay, bring the noise. He is insanely overpowered. I'm sorry to say it, but yeah. Ooh, cool. Cloth armor. Minor restoration potion. Yeah, more quartz. What's a quartz recently? That's done. The last lizardmen fell, bloody and broken from how Loren had mauled him. She dropped her swords and rushed to her mother, who was still lifeless and bound to the wall. Yay, I freed Karen. That's actually the first achievement I've seen in this game. Mother! Please, Mother! She lifted Karen's head and rocked her to make sure that she was alive. Her body was warm, to her relief. Eleanor handed her a knife and cut the ropes. Please! Just before she shed a tear, Loren saw her mother's eyes blink open. They struggled to focus, then finally looked to see who was holding her. Loren? The princess cried in happiness and hugged her mother close. She managed to free Karen completely from her bonds, revealing dark marks on her wrists from how long she had been held. What? Why are you here? I've come for you. The Amazons wanted to brand you as dead, but I knew you'd be alive. Dead? Karen immediately searched the room, then her face turned to anguish. She stood up shakily and fought her body's weakness to scramble over to a corpse nearby. Rhizome, no! She turned the person over to reveal an Arban man, dead. Karen did not mute her horrid cries upon seeing him, pressing her head into his cold body. The entire party stood in silence, witnessing the agony of a woman who had just barely escaped with her own life. Loren was perplexed at seeing such a reaction from her mother. Rhizome had been her mother's personal servant, and that was all. Loren suddenly made the connection that the man who had been reported as travelling with her mother had only been her slave. Her thoughts went wild. No one had captured her? Why had she been travelling with him? He was a man! Mother? Don't look at me! She snapped at her daughter too quickly, still hunched over Rhizome's body. Loren took a step back in fear. Don't judge me. Loren gasped. Karen had loved Rhizome. It was so clear to Loren now, from the way her mother was clutching him so dearly. She had been in love with him. All those smiles they had secretly shared back at the Citadel, every time her mother had chastised her for criticizing him and the other men. He didn't abduct you, you were running away with him! Her mother could never be allowed to love a man, especially not as Queen of the Amazons. She'd be cast out, and so would Loren, simply because she was related to a treacherous weakling. Men were only for procreation, never for love. She had been taught this for as long as she could remember. All this time, Loren had believed that her mother had disappeared against her will, and now it was clear she had wanted to abandon her all along. I am dead. I should be dead. Eleanor could not stand Loren's sudden standoffish behaviour towards her mother, especially for something so meaningless as what gender her lover was. So Eleanor hurried to Queen Karen's side and placed comforting hands on her shoulders. With a gentle pull, she led her away from Rhizome's corpse, though it was so clear she wanted to stay with him. The Amazon Queen had always been a strong, stoic leader with a reign and exterior as hard as stone, but now she was just a woman, breaking down in her arms. It was good enough for Eleanor to question reality itself. We arrived just in time. Those lizardmen were going to perform dark magic. They've already claimed one victim. It is curious that they did not kill the Amazon Queen yet. Indeed, perhaps they had another purpose for her. We can't leave him here. No, we will give him what he deserves. Follow me. Outside, a bright pyre burned, sending Rhizome home. Karen stared into the flames, utterly silent. On the opposite side, Loren was just as silent, but staring at her mother instead. She was still having difficulty piecing together everything she had just seen. She loved her mother deeply, but now she wondered who she even was. Despite her mother having broken Amazon tradition and requiring exile from the Citadel, Loren could not excommunicate her own blood, not just because it would mean her own exile as well, but because her mother was not a bad person. She was a strong queen and a good mother, even if her heart beat for someone whom it should not have. Eleanor quietly walked up and stood by Loren. She looked over at her servant. The very sight of Eleanor seemed to comfort her, which was a new emotion towards a servant for her. Are you well, Majesty? Loren opened her mouth, but no words came immediately. I'm well, thank you. Eleanor smiled, and Loren's stability racked once more. Slaves were supposed to be beneath her, but she was strangely humbled by this one. Loren walked away and urged the party to leave the swamps as soon as possible. Eleanor stood alone, left wondering why her mistress responded in such a way. Of course it was to be expected as her servant, but she couldn't shake the look in her eyes just now. After pulling Karen from the pyre, the party decided to move on and leave the swamps. Loren took her first steps back towards the citadel and towards home. Ooh, new party member. The Queen classes as a thief and a scout. Interesting. My lack of enemy is a focused target for essentially useful. Leg break. Hit target and any target in the corresponding back row for 50% damage. Ooh, that could be useful. I'm gonna get that. Given that she's a thief, she apparently needs pointed skills. That's good. It would be here where the story of Loren, the Amazon princess, should have ended. She had never left the citadel until the day her mother went missing, and now she was returning home with her. Her goal was complete, but her journey was far from over. That sword had not stopped glowing, and did not stop whispering to her while she slept. No, this was just the beginning for Loren and her loyal servant. Soon they would approach the forest again, and news would reach their ears. The whole world was quaking, ready to burst, and the sword knew this. High in the Everburn Mountains, a thundering, unearthly shout rang out over the mountains, shattering windows and putting out fires. Did it glow? Tell me, in that princess's hands did the sword glow? I don't know. I only know that she has it. I am completely positive on that, my lord. Then you had better find out if it glows. We have come too far for the gods to meddle in my business. Sir, you know I need more power for that. My omniscience is limited. I can't just do it whenever. What use are you then? The succubus frowned, about to growl something in her defence. Luckily for her, the chamber's doors flew open, and Grob came hobbling in, wheezing. You speak of the amber blade! It glowed! It glows! He threw all his weight onto his staff and tried to recapture his breath. Jewel crossed her arms and prepared herself for another of her lord's tantrums. The lava in the room spurted and flared in Faust's white-hot rage. She needs to be killed! I recall someone saying that such an option was covered. How did that go, by the way, Grob? The goblin shaman sneered at Jewel. It went according to plan, actually, but they are collecting more and more allies, so she is well protected. But the lizardmen will be able to handle them. That is... Oh, no, they haven't you heard? Quiet! I will tell him, witch! I have heard enough bad news for today, Grob. Yes, my lord, but the lizardmen have been slain. Loren has her mother, and they are leaving the swamps. Faust's scream shook the room, causing the tiles and walls on the ceiling to break off and shatter across the floor. Jewel and Grob were barely unscathed. You can't do anything right, Greenie. And what is it you've done for the Lord lately? Silence! You will both pay dearly for these mistakes. You failed to keep promises and have compromised me for the last time. My lord, you are being too hasty. I made you a promise that there would be a war. I have come to tell you, the war is upon us. This quieted Faust, and he sat down on his throne. How? Unlike some of us, I have great ability at your service, my lord. The humans and elves were itching for a war as it was, and the change of the wind would have sent them to war. Nevertheless, it was my illusion magic, lord. Faust was silent for a long moment, while the demons before him feared for their lives. This is the only good thing that I have heard from the two of you in a long time. That will not be the case again. The two demons bowed before Faust's throne, glaring at each other, and then left. Alone, the animated suit revelled in the thought of the world at war. His plans were finally starting to come to fruition. It was a cloudless night in the Empire. The night watchmen of a small town guarded their post as usual. Only merchants and lowly travellers entered the village at such a dark hour. So it was beyond suspicious when a group of elven scouts marched right up to the town. Hold! Who goes there? The elven scout marched through the gates and straight into the main square. The city guards rushed to block the roads. The elves suddenly stopped. "What is your business here? Go back! We don't need—" The guards' commanding tone faded as the elves took out their bows in unison and loaded them. "We're under attack!" The arrows flew in all directions, and the bloody screams woke the town. The elves mercilessly attacked the guards, showing almost no emotion as one person after another was slain. The guards barely had a chance to defend themselves or their loved ones. An arrow pierced an invading elf's skull, sending him to the ground. There, the elf's visage melted away and showed the corpse of a goblin instead. The skull was crushed under the foot of a defending guard. Just outside of the forest, Grob wheezed painfully and grasped his staff closely for support. "This should be the last of it." With a wave of his staff, the few goblins who remained in front of him suddenly turned into human guards. They looked at their new uniforms for a moment, and then scuttled into a battalion of human soldiers that was forming next to them. "Now! Go! Hurry!" The illusory soldiers then marched forward and right into the forest. Grob looked up at the moon and then coughed. Finally he teleported himself back to the Everburn Mountains to give his report. His master was waiting for good news. Well, that's bad. So they've actually managed to kick-start this war they were after. But on the plus side, found the Queen! Get in! And everybody's good to level up. I can actually start putting some stuff into other things for her. Given I'm using her primarily as a raw damage dealer, that could be very useful to have, but it'll take blooming ages. So either way, I think I'll get what basically amounts to a pommel strike now. Level you up. Okay, so you've got some good healing over there. Let's get that. You, I think I'm going to give you Blizzard, because water damage, you know, having water damage and fire damage is a good combo. Get you the next level of pinning shot. Skill. Get you the final level of regenerate. Add some more, lots more will points. Okay, you don't actually get any more. Once there, you, however, do get shield defense 3, which is good. More strength, lots more strength. And the Queen, strike through, which, as I say, should be quite useful. And more skill points, I think. Right, excellent. What I will say is, I will end this particular video here, because I'm going over time as it is, and I'll continue straight away in the next one. So thank you very much for watching part 7. Yeah, part 7, and I will see you in part 8.